What grossed you out so much in a relationship that you just left? I had gotten to the point in the relationship where he didn't mind me in the bathroom while he used it. He took a crap and wiped once. Didn't even look at the toilet paper. Then started pulling his pants up. I merely asked him WTF he was doing, and how TF he thought one little wipe was going to do a damn thing. And he was like, I've never needed more than one. Look, then wiped again, probably expecting nothing to be there. There was a lot there. I don't know, I guess the idea of him just carrying on with his day with crap regularly caked up in his butt painted him in a different light for me. Wasn't ever able to reignite the attraction. Probably should have been the person-sized pile of garbage in his room that made me reconsider, but I had further limits than most, I suppose. Story 2. In my circle of friends, there was a woman who hung out with us, and we were talking about doing laundry. She asked all the guys in the group how we got our skid marks out of our underwear. We were all confused and told her we didn't have crap stains on our underwear because we wipe her butt properly. I guess as a kid her chore was laundry, and her nasty father and brother always had skid marks on their underwear because they didn't wipe properly. She grew up thinking crap on a guy's underwear was normal. Poor girl. The only thing I can say about this is like father like son. That's funny. How is it possible that the son ended up doing the same thing as the father? Like, I don't think people really need a crash course test as a kid on how to wipe properly. I just feel like we just all naturally are like, why is there still stuff on my toilet paper? And we naturally will want to keep wiping until it's completed. But maybe it's biological. Maybe in their brains, they don't need to complete the deed. Story 3. My now long since divorced ex-husband admitted to me, after a night of weeping, wailing, and vodka in a desperate attempt to salvage our marriage via radical honesty, that he was so hypersexualized as a teen that he had done many suspect things. Many red flags were flown. He'd been a peeping Tom. He'd considered SAing a jogger on multiple occasions. He had effed his 9-year-old mare quarter horse. He took my catastrophic shocked silence as a chance to explain that he needed a step stool to get enough height for insertion. Suddenly, the dancer from the all-nude bar he'd been screwing was unimportant. She wasn't that bad. Crap. I realized very quickly that I needed to have a friendly discussion with her for her safety. And I did in fact forget all about my heartbreak. The radical honesty was, in that sense, a success. Yeah, that's gotta be the quickest way to honestly get over a relationship. Like, honestly, that's the only way to actually fast track a heartbreak and get over it the fastest way possible. They truly gotta tell you some messed up stuff. They need to distract you. Because if they tell you some really borderline screwed up stuff they've done, then you're not going to be thinking about how he cheated on you anymore. You're going to be thinking about how he just effed a horse. And that's going to be the more traumatizing part. But guess what? You're more traumatized because you're like, holy crap, I dated this man. Not because he broke up with you or cheated on you. Or you broke up with him. It's quite a beautiful thing. Story 4. I went away with my ex and saw his toothbrush for the first time. It had black mold growing on it and the bristles were so flat the toothbrush had a middle parting. I had a conversation with him about hygiene and told him to get a new toothbrush. But when I stayed at his house 2 weeks later, the cursed toothbrush was still there. So I ended it. That's just foul. Honestly, it's probably the healthiest decision for this woman to make. Think about it. She is most likely probably kissing this gentleman. This gentleman is brushing with black mold on his teeth. She made the right decision. Story 5. She was so rude to my friends. We went out to dinner with them and she constantly made fun of one's height. Something he's clearly been insecure about. I told her to chill, and then she said my hairline is far back, but no one notices because I'm tall. I broke up with her the next morning. I felt so bad for my friends, but they're still in my life, thankfully. Story 6. I had something like this happen. I had dated this girl for like 3 months, and she was always so sweet. We go out to the bar one night, and she has a little much to drink and starts being a-hole. I know the owners and a lot of the locals, so I am mortified. I apologize and take her home. But she doesn't want to go home. On the drive, she says she wants to come to my house and informs me if she can't, she will call the police and say I'm kidnapping her. I was dumbfounded. I told her I would do her one better and drive her to the police station right now. Sitting in her little car, I was trying to drive to get her home safe. But then she slapped me, so I pulled over and grabbed her phone and called her dad and told him to come get her. And I would drop her keys off the next day. She apologized many times, but I just couldn't get over the insane switch that flipped that night and was never attracted to her again. Yeah, there's kind of a common saying the way someone acts when they're drunk is kind of truly who they are. Because when you're drunk, you just kind of let go, and a lot of times that's just kind of what your true emotions are. Now, don't get this twisted, alcohol can also exaggerate your emotions. So, if you're being a jerk one night, maybe you're just having a really bad night. But in this scenario, it really does sound like this might just truly be her, and that she was putting on pretty colors for when she was sober. But the truth came out, and that's actually how she really was. Story 7, her breath was so bad, I couldn't make out with her. All I could think of was, don't vomit. Don't vomit. Story 8. I remember in high school something similar happened with this girl I made out with. She had braces and she had recently eaten bread or something like that. As we were making out, I noticed that she had a lot of saliva. It wasn't normal. It was too much. It felt really slimy too, and I was doing my best not to let it too much into my mouth. I didn't want to embarrass her or make her feel bad, so I pretended nothing was wrong. After like 5 seconds, I felt a little bit of food, probably bread, that was still in her braces come into my mouth. It made me gag while we were still kissing. I stopped the whole thing, trying to look normal, and left. She probably didn't notice anything. As soon as I got home, I brushed my teeth for like 10 minutes straight. I would argue that 10 minutes was not enough time to brush his teeth. If I'm kissing someone and bread literally gets inside my mouth, I feel like I'm gonna have to take my anger out on people. And as crazy as that sounds, I honestly feel like that's just the highest caliber of violation, or one of the highest violations you can do to someone. And because of that, I will have to kind of take my emotions out on other people. This is a joke, by the way. But yeah, bread goes in my mouth while kissing someone. I'm making a scene. I'm running, I'm going to say some stuff. I'm going to say they did something to me because truthfully, spiritually, they did. Story 9. Dated a guy who said even the smell of mint would make him gag. Mint anything. Ice cream, gum, toothpaste. So yeah, he didn't brush his teeth. Wouldn't hear a bar of it when I said there were non-mint toothpaste on the market. I realized after 6 months of being together that he was just generally unhygienic and had a specific hang-up about brushing his teeth. He told me he had memories of his mother holding him down to forcefully brush his teeth as a child because he hates mint so much. But I have to wonder if it was always about the mint or actually the fact that the taste of mint was the most tangible part of that childhood trauma. Story 10. I showered at his place after staying over and I asked for a towel. He gave me one, which had literal skin flakes on. I asked for a clean one. He asked what I meant. He did not realize that you need to wash towels because they just have water on them, so they clean themselves. That's what he literally told me. Yeah, this almost reminds me of the one time when I found out you actually have to clean a bathtub. You would think with soap and water being in a bathtub 24/7, that would clean itself. But the sad reality is you still gotta clean that. And same thing with towels. Story 11. At a party with some of my closest friends and a lot of their mutuals. One of our friends who had recently been diagnosed with cancer was sharing some of the experience with chemo. My then girlfriend interrupted by saying, "Oh, come on. It's not that big of a deal. We all probably have cancer. Moles are usually cancer. Look, I probably had cancer in all these places on my arm where I had moles removed. There was a lot of other issues that led to it, but I broke up with her a few days later. I was just so appalled by her lack of self-awareness. These were my friends who I had known for a decade, and she'd only known them for about a year. And we were in a small group of maybe 9 people, most of whom she hadn't even met before. It disgusted me, and I couldn't spend the rest of my night near her. Ended it within the week." Yeah, how does she not know any better about cancer? It's like literally one of the most prominent diseases everywhere. I think, at least. How is she so ignorant just to think like cancer was just like the common cold? That's how she talked about it. Oh, we've all had cancer. No, we haven't. What are you on about? If you had it, you would definitely know. Or eventually find out. Story 12. I was dating a girl when I was younger. She seemed nice, and she had 2 small cats. One weekend, I went to visit her, and the cats weren't there. I asked her where they were. She told me they had gotten annoying, and so she put them in the car and drove to an abandoned bush area and left them. I faked an emergency at home. We live about a 2-hour drive apart. Left and broke up with her when I got home. Yeah, who does that? You definitely just save yourself the biggest headache there. If this woman is willing just to drive cats to a random bush, it just shows she kind of doesn't have much regard for life. Story 13. I had one of those blind dates. We went out 3 times, maybe 4. She stalked me for 11 years. Drove hundreds of miles every weekend or 2 just to lurk in the parking lot of my college dorm. Drove past my house, always found me when I moved. Kept coming around after I was married. Kept coming around after she got married. She sent letters saying she leaves her husband in a heartbeat if I asked her to. The amount of time she invested into driving must have been crazy because we never lived close. It was always at least 45 to 60 minutes one way for her and a little over 300 when I was in college. For as many times as I'd see her drive by or park down the block, I'm more freaked out with how many dozens/hundreds of times I didn't see her. There was a point for almost a year when I didn't see her, and then I discovered that she's gotten a new car. How many times did I not notice her that year? Once a month, once a day. She finally stopped when her husband had a heart attack. I think she finally realized how much she loved him and left me alone. Mostly. Still get texts asking how I'm doing though. I work with the public, so my phone number is on billboards and flyers. I never respond, so if we count the current texts after she stopped physically stalking me, I've had a stalker for 28 years. And since everyone asks why I don't just block her, it's because I sincerely believe she would warn me if she was going to do something. I don't know why, but if she ever went off the deep end, like if her husband died or something, I have a feeling she'd tell me she was coming to kill my family, to have me all to herself or something. It's essentially been over almost 2 decades, and I'm still effing paranoid and playing her game. It's not fun. Talk about literal fear. Could you imagine going on a date like 3 to 4 times with someone just for them to stalk you for 28 years? That's just insane. Like, what does this guy got going on for him? Story 14. Asked me, had I ever attempted to seduce my stepdad, who has been in my life since I was 8. I was 18 at the time. I just looked at him in bafflement and horror before asking him, had he ever attempted to F his adopted sister. He responded with disgust, and yet still couldn't see that he had asked me something horrific. Same dude also said he didn't think anyone was really bisexual. They're just cowards who won't properly come out. When I asked him, had he forgotten that I am a bisexual woman, he smiled and said, nah, I'll F you straight. All this said within a month of us getting together. He's an ex for a reason. Yeah, this guy just sounds like he watched a little too much pee. If you're asking questions about like seducing your stepdad, that guy was definitely on the internet for too much. That dude's definitely been desensitized to the grills. Story 15. I just left my boyfriend of 10 months because he purposely screams during an argument that people in his family will hear everything going on. It is his way to make me feel vulnerable and weak. Says things like, good, I want them to hear. I want them to know how psycho you are. When I'm persistently trying to end the argument and speak civilly. It was like a temper tantrum. Needless to say, I left him yesterday. Story 16. He and I had just started dating. He was going through a divorce and was low on money. I invited him up for a romantic weekend, paid for a hotel room and food, helped him with the gas money, and even gave him some grocery money for the next week. All my treat. I was happy to help, and I didn't ask for repayment, just asked him to get dinner or something next time we saw each other, if he could. He had the absolute audacity to text me when he got home that I was irresponsible with money. Story 17. When I saw his apartment, the smell hit me first. Just smelled like dog pee and this strong, wet, musty smell. I couldn't be in there without the windows open. Piles of stuff everywhere, so much that it was spreading to the outdoor balcony, and Diet Coke cans on every surface. The carpet was so dirty you could see all around the edges of the wall. A little brown accumulation, and the dog wasn't potty trained. While the poo would get picked up, the pee was never clean, so it soaked into the carpet. And I learned quickly that I didn't have shoes on. I might get a wet little surprise soaking through my socks. The kitchen tile always felt tacky and greasy. He rarely did laundry of any kind. In fact, I never once saw him do laundry except the one time I offered to do it for him. He even had a little gaming den. Edit to add, Fortnite. He played Fortnite. Fortunately, the dog wasn't allowed in there, but again, I could see it'd never been cleaned once. Dirt and dust and stuff piled everywhere, cans and old plates of food left out. He told me once that he wanted to get a mini fridge for it, so he never had to get up. I was adamant that he didn't. I don't care if it's his place, next step after that is peeing in bottles. It was shocking. He seemed so put together on the outside, and then to see how he lived, and this was after. Cleaning all day. Yeesh. I don't know if this was more gross or the women don't know what it's like to work. Women cannot be trusted. Women this boo-boo comments. Also, just want to add, no, I'm not making fun of a depressed person. He was pretty happy/active and could justify anything he did with ease. If anything, he had ASPD. Story 18. He convinced me to stay on Skype while I was sleeping, and he'd literally talk to me if I moved an inch, thinking I was waking up. What finally got me to stop was when I caught him saying to me in my sleepy days was that if he was next to me IRL, he'd stick his D in me while I'm sleeping, and put much emphasis in doing it without my consent. Because you can't say no. And ride me all night long. I finally got the courage to ghost him after hearing that. Alright, here's a question. Why did you need courage to ghost him? Like, if that was your motivation to ghost him, you need to kind of set your filter a lot higher. A lot of the time when people meet weird people or make bad friends and all of that, it's because you don't have that great of a filter. I'm also guilty of this, but you need to make sure you're picky and you have a good filter. That way you don't run into these kind of scenarios. A lot of the time, there is red flags that show up that can help you prevent cases like this. Story 19. I have told this story about a dozen times on Reddit. The first night I slept in my ex's apartment, I woke up in the middle of the night to an extremely loud scraping noise. It was inside my ear. A roach had crawled into my ear and was scraping against my eardrums with its legs, antennas, whatever. It was the most awful feeling I've ever experienced. I used tweezers to try to get it out, and when I pulled them out after a few times, only half the roach came out. I had to go to the ER to get the rest out and get antibiotics. I had a horrible ear infection for a couple of weeks. The worst part was her saying, "It happens to my son all the time." Like WTF. Found out she had 4 wrappers and trash under her bed. Clean your effing house. It has literally haunted me and given me PTSD. When I'm sleeping, if I hear the slightest noise, I jump up and swat uncontrollably around my head/ears. My wife was shocked AF the first time I did it when we were dating, but since I told her, she fully understands. Yeah, if there's a roach in my ear, I'm suing you. I'm gonna sue you for emotional damage. That is just way too far. And the fact she said her son has this issue all the time, I feel so bad for the son. If he's dealing with problems like that, I can only imagine what else is going on in the household. That dude probably should have called CPS, to keep it honest. Story 20. She was almost perfect for the first year that we dated, to the point to where I considered marriage with her. Our leases were up around the same time, so we decided to move in together. Not even a month into us living together, she turned into a completely different person. She started instigating fights over very small things, blowing things out of proportion, accusing me of cheating when I'd have to work late. She'd pack her things to leave, but would never actually leave, just like the fight of me trying to talk her down. One day we were at the movie store in the mall, together, and I was looking at the back of a movie at the description. She accused me of ogling over the actress that was on the movie case, stormed out of the movie store, left the mall, left me there with no ride home, and didn't answer her phone. I got the F out of there as soon as I could. After I left, she texted me paragraphs of apologies, begging me to take her back or she'd kill herself. Sent me pictures of her cutting herself. I had to have her number blocked. She then started stalking me at work and coming to my friend's house that I was staying at. Ended up getting a restraining order against her. Story 21. My ex used to say constantly that she wanted to be inside my skin. It was her way of saying she desired me, but it was effing weird and off-putting, so I asked her to stop, and she couldn't understand what was so uncomfortable about what she was saying. Pretty soon after that, I went on a week-long work trip, and 3 days into it, she called and told me the whole time I've been gone, she wanted to cheat on me. Then she asked me if she could see other people while I'm gone. I broke up with her pretty much instantly. Yeah, that's just crazy. Literally just insanity there. The same chick literally being so obsessive to the point where she's saying she wants to be inside her skin. She probably just wants to be in other people's skin. Low-key, this chick just sounds like a monster. That's probably why she actually wants to cheat. Because this guy wasn't letting her. He was not letting her be inside his skin. So she was like, I'm gonna find a guy that will let me. You see, guys, if you don't give the lady what they want, they will cheat on you. Prime case right here. Story 22. It should have been the time that he fell out of the shower in our Airbnb and was extremely agitated with me afterwards for not trying to save him from falling out. He was 6'2" and 230 pounds. I was about 105 and I am just under 5 foot. Not sure what I was supposed to do. It also should have been when he pitched a fit and deleted his FB event for his 40th birthday because not enough people had excitedly responded to it in the 3 hours it was up. It also should have been when he booked a 4-seat reservation at a themed restaurant and invited one of his close girlfriends, but told her she couldn't bring a guy and had to bring another girl. We weren't quite finished with our drinks when our seating time had run out, and we went to sit at the communal table to finish and leave. He chatted with his friend and the girl she brought with his back to me. He didn't even notice when I messaged him a picture of the back of his shirt because I was trying to make a point. What it was being on vacation with him and having him sneer at me for tipping too much. It was $5 CAD. He said, "You're going to skew the economy here. This is why you live paycheck to paycheck." Dude literally lost any glamour charm on him at that moment. It looked like nothing but a slimy human lizard freak after that. Yeah, just a pro tip. Oh, get it? Pro tip. If you put a $5 tip down and someone gives you a problem for that, no, just run. Literally just run as fast as you can. You know that running scene in Get Out? Do exactly that. Story 23. Oh, I have one of these too. It should have been when he got mad that I didn't cook the chicken like his mom did. He also used to say that cooking was my job. It should have been when he gave me the silent treatment for a week because I got home 30 minutes later. It also should have been when he stopped brushing his teeth and they started turning black around the gums and I could smell his breath from the other side of the couch. It also should have been when he sexted with his best friend for weeks, but got mad at me because I found out. Same friend he wanted to have a threesome with and insisted on it for years. It should have been when he started playing a game with me called Let's See How Long You Can Be Quiet For. It also should have been when he spent our anniversary weekend with his work friends after he refused to travel with me anywhere for 5 years. It should have been when I saw him eating his boogers at 26 years old. He ended up breaking up with me in the middle of the street and I moved on so fast. By the end of it, I felt so repulsed by him that I didn't care.